Hello, my name is Melissa Layupan, and today we'll see a demo around a contracts management process that was built using K2 and Adlib software. As you know, K2 is a leader in business process automation, while Adlib is a leader in content to PDF transformation. Together, K2 and Adlib offer a complete solution around automated document transformation and compilation. Some of the benefits of our solution include the ability to create powerful, process-driven applications which improve business efficiency and increase accuracy with which document transformation occurs. So the demo that we'll see today is around contracts management and processing. Traditionally, these types of processes are manual, paper-based processes where you have multiple documents that make up a single contract. Additionally, tracking where the documents are in the process has proven to be a challenge, especially for your more complicated and core business scenarios. With K2 and Adlib software, you can fully automate the assembly of your documents, and this assembly can be based on business rules and data, which K2 can pull from different line of business systems such as SAP and CRM. Additionally, these documents and their tasks can then be easily routed on for approval. All in all, K2 and Adlib together results in less paperwork, more efficiency, and a higher visibility into how your business is actually run. So our demo today starts with Barry. Barry is a sales manager within the Denolix organization, and he needs to get a contract approved as soon as possible. So to do that, Barry opens up his SharePoint site and he heads over to the new contract form. This form is an InfoPath-based form, and as you can see, it's pre-populated with certain pieces of information from Active Directory, as well as project information, including the different projects that are available for him to work with. If we select one of those projects, you'll notice that all of the associated project information is loaded into the form as well. So K2 is able to pull external information from Active Directory and other line of business systems through its Smart Object architecture. Basically, K2 Smart Objects allow users to work with external information without having to write code. Okay, so let's fill in some of the remaining contract details, such as the contract amount, as well as the contract due date. And Barry can add any optional reviewers here as well. And then he can also attach any relevant documents or documentation. And these documents will be merged by Adlib into a final contract PDF towards the latter part of our demonstration. So first we've loaded our cover page, which is a basic Word document. And then we also have a proposal letter, which is a more complicated Word document because it contains multiple header styles that will ultimately be converted into sub-bookmarks in the final merged PDF. And then we also have our quotation spreadsheet. This is obviously a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet has multiple tabs, and each of the tabs will also be converted into sub-bookmarks in that final PDF. And then finally, we have our signed quote, or a copy of our signed quote. And this signed quote is a natively non-searchable TIFF. This TIFF image was actually created by printing the Excel sheet tabs in paper format and then having it circulated for the signatures and then finally scanned back into digital form as the TIFF image. And as you'll see, later on in that final merged PDF, this TIFF image will be converted into a text searchable document using Adlib's OCR engine. Okay, so now that we've added all of our attachments as well as all of our contract information, Barry is going to go ahead and submit this contract for approval. Now the next step in our process is for a task to be assigned to Holly. Holly is the person responsible for reviewing this particular contract. In this case, Holly has received an email to inform her of her new task, and in the email she can view her work list item or her task item by clicking on the link, or she can action her task completely by replying back to the email with one of the pre-configured options. By replying to the email, it'll close out her work list item and the process can continue to the next stage or the next step in the process. Alternatively, she could go to SharePoint, and within her SharePoint site, she can see that there's a new task that's assigned to her, and this task is viewable through the K2 work list. The K2 work list is an out-of-the-box web part which is provided by K2, and it allows Holly to see all of the tasks that are assigned to her across the different SharePoint sites, servers, and farms. And Holly has the ability to do a lot of things through this work list, such as filtering through the tasks that she's assigned, or searching for a particular work item, and even setting her out of office if that's necessary. In terms of actioning the task, Holly can batch action her work items, or she could open up each individual task to view the details associated with those work items, and she could do a few other things here, such as put a task to sleep or redirect or delegate it to somebody else. In this case, Holly is going to open up her work list item, and on this task form she can see all of the information around her task, such as all of the requester information, all of the contract related information. She can even view process specific information through the view flow. Now the view flow is a color-coded, real-time graphical representation of the process instance, where green represents the steps that are taken and blue represents the current step or stage. So here we can see that currently we're sitting at the review contract step. Additionally, all of these steps are all clickable. And if I click on a step, I'm presented with some really nice summary information about this particular task, such as the current status. So I can see that right now it's in an active state. I could see when the task was assigned. I could also see when it was finished, how long it was currently running, and what that expected duration actually is. I can also see a visual indication of how well this particular task is performing against that expected duration. So since we are currently exceeding the expected duration, this KPI indicator here is red. I can also see who this task was assigned to. So in this case, the task was assigned to Holly, and if she'd action the task, then I can see her action as well. If we go back to our task form, Holly can also view other pieces of information, such as the draft contract. This draft contract was actually generated by both K2 and Adlib. So K2 initially created the draft document, and as part of the draft document, K2 created the contract, which includes information from the process, such as the type of contract, who the customer is, and other information such as the contract start date. And Adlib, using its technology, was able to convert this draft document into a PDF document while to indicate the fact that it's a draft, also applying a watermark. And then finally, if we take a look at at the last section, we can see here that K2 has taken all of the documents that were uploaded as part of that original form and created a document set and then stored all of those documents inside of that document set for easy classification and retrieval in the future. So these are all of the different documents that were attached to our form, and then a copy of that draft document has also been inserted into this document set by K2. Okay, so now that we've reviewed all of the information, Holly is going to decide to approve this work item, and she's going to leave a comment here to say that everything looks good. And the last step in our process is for a task to be assigned to Chris. Chris works in the legal department, and one of his responsibilities is to ensure that the different contracts all adhere to company policies. So within his SharePoint site, he can see that a new task has been assigned to him. And opening up the task, he sees his task form, and in his task form, he can review contract-related information. He can view process-specific information. He can also view the generated contract, as well as all of the associated documentation. Additionally, he can see that his colleague has also reviewed the contract and has left a comment that everything looks good. So based on this information, he's going to decide to approve the contract, and then also leave a comment here that everything looks good. Okay, so now that legal has approved that step, let's now refer back to our review flow to see some of the remaining items that K2 has done to close out the process. So first of all, K2 has saved that contract information off into an external database, and then split into two parallel branches, where the left-hand side is going to create that final contract, and then the right-hand portion of the branch is going to create the contract package. So Adlib is going to take all of the documents that are within that SharePoint document set and merge those documents into one contract package, one PDF file, and we'll take a look at that file in just a few minutes. So once that work is done, we're going to upload those records into SharePoint. Okay, so now let's take a look at our SharePoint site, and let's head over to our records library. And if we expand out the documents that have just been added, first, if we look at our generated contract, you'll notice that this is the finalized version of the draft contract that we saw earlier. It still contains information from the process, such as the type of contract and who the customer is, but you'll notice that this contract no longer contains the draft watermark. So Adlib was able to remove that draft watermark and then also convert that finalized Word document into this PDF. Now let's take a look at the document that was generated by Adlib. So first of all, Adlib gives you full control over a number of document attributes, such as the page that is initially displayed when the document is open, to other details like the zoom level of a page. So you can view a page in either fit to width mode or maybe the full size of the screen. You can even customize other details of the document, such as the table of contents. So you can specify things like the text size, the font family, or whether you'd like to see dotted lines or dashed lines. You can also customize other things such as the headers as well as the footers. And The text for these headers and footers can be either statically defined, or you can pull them dynamically from SharePoint or maybe an external line of business, for example. And then there's other details that Adlib also takes care of that you might not think of, such as the page numbering. So that's particularly useful for when you're in a scenario and you're working with a number of documents that have been merged. In that case, you want to enforce some consistency in that numbering of those documents, and Adlib will automatically generate those page numbers for you. Now, in terms of the documents themselves, as you can see here, this contract package is composed of a cover page, a proposal letter, a quotation, and a signed copy of the quote. And these are all different file types. So I have my Word documents, I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I have a TIFF file. It's important to note that Adlib not only allows you to work with these files, but actually Adlib supports more than 300 different file types, including the latest and greatest from Microsoft, which is Microsoft Office 2012 or 2010, all the way to other file types which you might not expect, such as InfoPath. So you can take an InfoPath form and convert that into a PDF, which is really handy and useful. Now, in terms of the documents and how they're saved into this PDF by Adlib, it's also important to note that Adlib is going to preserve all of the source behavior and properties from your base documents. So for example, if we look at this proposal letter, you'll see here we have a number of different table of contents entries. These were originally bookmarks, which Adlib has surfaced into the table of contents. And if I click on these bookmarks, it's going to take me to the relevant section within my PDF file. And then if I have other pieces of functionality, such as a hyperlink, all of that functionality and behavior is going to remain. So clicking on the hyperlink takes me to the appropriate section within my document. Same thing holds for other file types. So for example, with the Excel spreadsheet, I had two different tabs here, and as you can see, those are surfaced within my table of contents. And then for my TIFF file, this was initially a non-searchable TIFF, but since it's been added into the PDF by Adlib, I'm now able to search the text within this TIFF file. So for example, if I type in manager, you can see here this manager this manager or entries within this TIFF file is now being returned as part of my search results. So as you can see, Adlib offers a number of great features and functionalities around documents and working with documents, especially in terms of PDF and preserving those base document behaviors and properties. And now let's take a look at the summary report that was generated by K2. This report contains summary information about our process, such as who made the initial request, general contract information, including the project name and number, as well as a link to the attachments that were uploaded and associated to our contract. And then below that, we have process-related information, including a link to our view flow, which is a graphical visualization of the process instance. And then we can also see all of the people who participated in the process, as well as the status of their actions. So in addition to the custom audit report that we've just seen, K2 also allows you to create other types of reports, such as custom management reports, which combine line of business information with process information. Additionally, K2 can also be used to create visualizations, such as heat maps. So this heat map was built within Visio and surfaced within SharePoint using Visio services. And this type of report is useful to management as well as IT because it helps those departments understand the business process and where to introduce efficiencies. So again, K2 provides you the capability to create whatever kind of report you need, whether it is an auditing style report or a management report or something non-traditional such as visualizations or business intelligence reports where you can pivot off of process and business information. And finally, to round out our strong reporting capabilities, obviously K2 offers a number of out-of-the-box reports which are all fully configurable based on a number of different reporting options. And that concludes today's presentation on contracts management. If you'd like more information, please visit K2 at k2.com and Adlib at adlibsoftware.com. Thank you.